Hello, everyone. Welcome to another meeting, another podcast episode. If you're listening on the podcast or watching on YouTube, you can find out more about these meetings, about our online community, about paid private mentoring with myself if it interests you on the website. And it's www.acimwithkeith.com. Okay, so let's get on with today's meeting. As ever, let's go to A Course in Miracles. Hey. We're going to start with chapter 28, and this is section 2, paragraph 7. The miracle establishes you dream a dream and that its content is not true. This is a crucial step in dealing with illusions. No one is afraid of them when he perceives he made them up. The fear was held in place because he did not see that he was the author of the dream and not a figure in the dream. So you see, the Course finds us in the condition of mindlessness. And the condition of mindlessness is thinking you are a physical and psychological body that you call me, creature of time. That's mindlessness, because you're not that. That's a dream figure. See? And the miracle establishes that that's not you. The miracle establishes that me, which is a body with a story and an insane voice talking to itself about me, 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 me. The miracle establishes that's not you. That's what the miracle establishes. That's not you. That's a dream figure. In your dream, it's not you. This is where everyone goes wrong in A Course in Miracles and thinks it's talking about solipsism. Solipsism is I'm the only real separate self, and none of the rest of you are. The me thinks, oh, the me, am the dreamer of all this. The me that is a body and an insane voice talking to itself. That identity structure, that illusory identity, that condition of mindlessness appropriates what the Course is teaching and goes, oh, I, the dream figure, am dreaming the dream. Dream figures aren't dreaming the dream. They are the dream. That's where everyone goes wrong. That's where everyone goes wrong. So the miracle establishes that's not you. And now something incredible is possible. Now you know that dream figure, the body with a story, the insane voice talking to itself. Now you know that's not you. You're not that me, which is an illusion, which is a dream. Now you get to share an identity with everyone else as dreamer of the dream. That's what the miracle is. That's what the miracle is. You cannot have the miracle until you choose against your delusion that you are that insane voice talking to itself, that hates itself and hates everyone else, that thinks itself a creature of time in its dream. See, you don't get a miracle until you look at that delusion and go, that's not me. I don't want that. And the letting that go you are automatically dreamer of the dream. Consciousness is the dreamer of the dream. Consciousness is the split mind. Consciousness is the apparently separated Son of God. Ultimately, consciousness itself is illusory. You are the absolute. You are what God is. That's the end of the journey. Okay, but we got to start where we're at, which is consciousness. And consciousness is the split mind, split between the ego and the Holy Spirit. Consciousness can be wrong-minded or right-minded. It can't be neither, and it can't be both. It's one or the other. Either you are the dream figure, the body with a story and the insane voice talking to itself. Either you are the dream figure, or you are the one consciousness that is dreaming all of this. It's one or the other. It can't be neither and it can't be both. There is no such thing as consciousness going, will I be a dream figure or will I be consciousness? That doesn't exist. Either consciousness believes the erroneous thought of separateness, of self and other, which is the ego, or it doesn't. When consciousness aligns itself with the ego thought system of self and other, of separateness, it thinks itself a figure in its dream, surrounded by others. That's wrong-mindedness. Consciousness doesn't know it's the author of the dream and not a figure in its dream. So when you're identifying as the me, the separate self, the one with the guilty past, the victimized past, and the frightening future, the self-concept, the self you made, that's not the Son of God, and nothing it thinks or does means anything. It is neither good nor bad. It is unreal, and nothing more than that. When you're meing, when you're selfing, that's wrong-minded consciousness. You think you're the figure in your dream. Well, the miracle establishes that you're not. So you can't have the miracle until you understand this. Now, here's the problem. Consciousness thinks it's the me, it's the body with a story, it's the insane voice talking to itself. And now, this misidentification says, oh, I'm really consciousness. And goes, how do I choose to be consciousness? How does the me know itself as consciousness? How does the dream figure me know itself as the dreamer of the dream? That's the trap. The illusory identity structure thinks, what can I, the illusory identity structure that's blocking the truth of oneness, what can I do to know myself as oneness? Nothing. Nothing. If I become psychotic tomorrow and think I'm Sherlock Holmes, we've used this example before, and I'm camped outside 221 Baker Street, and the current owners won't let me in. I'm like, this is my house. I'm a very famous detective. Let me in. They're like, no, go away. You're insane. And I'm running round after all the detectives in Scotland Yard going, you need me. You need me. I'm better than all of you. And they're like, you go home and we're arresting you, right? But no, I'm like, no, I'm Sherlock Holmes. You see, and someone comes along and goes, listen, you're not Sherlock Holmes. You're Keith. See? And I go, oh, well, it's not that great being Sherlock Holmes. I can't stay in my house, not allowed in. Police want nothing to do with me. It's not all that it's cracked up in. So now I, Sherlock Holmes, go, well, how do I, Sherlock Holmes, become Keith? How am I going to do that? See, so I go and I read loads of books on Keith, and I interview everyone that knows Keith. And I'm like, oh my God, that's what he does. That's how he lives, you know? Oh, he teaches spirituality. I should learn about spirituality so I can be more like Keith. You see? And all the while, Sherlock Holmes is trying to be Keith. The only thing that's veiling Keith from himself is Sherlock Holmes. In the same way, I read A Course in Miracles and go, oh, I'm the dreamer of the dream. How do I, Keith, become consciousness? How do I, Keith, know myself as the dreamer of the dream? How do I, the dream figure, know myself as the dreamer of the dream? And all the while that the dream figure, the illusory identity structure, is searching around to know how to be the truth is blocked by the one that's trying to become it. How do I, the person, know myself as the dreamer of the dream? You can't, because the person is the dream. The dream can't know itself as what's outside the dream. You have to let go of the false identification. I can't, thinking I'm Sherlock Holmes, go, how do I become Keith? How do I learn about Keith and become Keith? I can't do that. I have to learn how to drop the misidentification as a fictional character. How do I, Keith, know myself as consciousness, as the dreamer of the... I can't. I have to let go of the misidentification as a creature of time, as a body with a story, as a physical and psychological body. You see? Because the choice is already made for wrong-minded consciousness. When I think I'm Keith, this separate self, different than you separate selves, when I'm that, that's wrong-minded consciousness. The decision is made, okay? The decision is made to identify as an illusion, a conceptual identity made of thoughts. The decision is made. Now, I now have to choose against the error. I can't keep the error and try to choose the truth. I can't first identify as Sherlock Holmes and then go, I, Sherlock Holmes, will know myself as Keith. What I have to do is I have to drop the identification as Sherlock Holmes to know Keith is what was here all along. In the same way, to know yourself as the dreamer of the dream, you have to drop your identification with the body mind, which is the dream figure. You have to drop your identification with that. And now you know yourself as the consciousness that was here all along, outside of thoughts. That's what the miracle establishes. You're not the dream figure, the innocent victim. good in an evil world. You're not the self concept. You're not a self made of thoughts that's thinking. That's the dream figure. The miracle establishes that's not you. So the miracle is how you drop that misidentification, not how the misidentification chooses to be the dreamer. The dream figure doesn't choose to be the dreamer. The dream figure is let go, and all that's left is the dreamer. You see? So this is the big trap for A Course in Miracles students. They think, oh, the Course is talking to me, the person, the insane voice talking to itself with a past and a future, this body identity in the dream. The Course is talking to me and telling me to do something. No, it's not. It's talking to the mind that thinks it's that and going, you're not that. Let it go. And you'll know yourself as pure, unbound consciousness. And you'll look out and know that's the truth of everything and everyone around you. That's the miracle. That's shared identity. You must understand you are, for all intents and purposes now, we're talking about consciousness because that's where we're at. Ultimately, consciousness is an illusion. There is no I am. Okay. But within the illusion of consciousness, we're not dealing with absolute reality straight away. We're dealing with wrong minded consciousness and right minded consciousness. And the function of right minded consciousness is purely to undo wrong minded consciousness. When wrong minded consciousness is undone, when there's no more belief in dream figures, consciousness itself can fall away. And now there's no self. There is knowledge, which is God, which is the absolute. But Course in Miracles students get very snobby about this, going, "Oh, consciousness is the home of the ego. Consciousness is not the ultimate reality." So what? That's a concept. That means nothing. You still think you're a dream figure. So don't even dream about thinking about what's outside consciousness. You think you're an I am this. That's the dream. Your job is to know yourself as I am. That's right-minded consciousness. That's where we're working for now. Because you still think there's a you. There's not. There's God. And you're not separate from it. But as long as you think there's a you, the course is going, well, we're going to get you to stop identifying as a you that is a body with a story. And we're going to get you to identify as the consciousness that is appearing as all of this. That you're not a dream figure, that you don't have a past or future. You are the consciousness within which all of this is arising, by which all of this is known, out of which all of this is made, and into which all of this is dissolving. You are that. That's your right-minded consciousness. That's your right mind. That's the Holy Spirit's vision. That's Christ's vision. Christ's vision says there is one consciousness and it is experiencing itself as all of the dream figures without ever becoming them. You are consciousness experiencing itself as a dream figure without ever being that. I am the same consciousness experiencing itself as this dream figure. And 8 billion others are consciousness experiencing itself as the 8 billion apparent others. But there's no others. It's all the one consciousness appearing as its dream without ever ceasing to be dreamer. That's that's the Holy Spirit's vision. That's Christ's vision. The forms the broken pieces seem to take mean nothing. 8 billion apparent others, for the whole is in each one. One consciousness, one dreamer is appearing as the whole thing. And every aspect of the Son of God is just the same as every other part. Christ vision means when I look at one person here, I see the dreamer of the whole dream. And I look at another person here and I see the same dreamer. And I see another person here and I see the same dreamer. I see consciousness. And I know it's what I am. We share an identity. Now, watch the trap. The me, the dream figure identity, the creature of time, the identity structure made out of thoughts and identification with thoughts, it hears this and goes, oh, I, the me, share an identity with everyone else. So they're me. They're not. There's not only no others, there's no you. The me, the separate self, the thinker of thoughts, the dream figure. There's no dream figures. There is what is appearing as everything. So again, the ego hears this and goes, I, the me, am what everyone is. No. You who think you are a me are not a me. You are what is everything and everyone. That's Christ's vision. Again, if you think you're a dream figure, you must choose against it. You cannot stay the dream figure and try to be the dreamer. You cannot stay the false identity, the me, the separate self. You cannot keep that and go, how does the me become consciousness? It can't. You, consciousness, have to let go of identifying as a me to know shared identity. One, beingness is here, hearing as its dream of dream figures and animals and past and future. And you are what all this is made out of. That's what you are. But you think you're a me, a body with a story, an innocent victim. Say, good in an evil world, the face of innocence. That's what you think you are. That's a dream. Me is a dream. It's made out of thoughts and the delusion someone's thinking them. You are the consciousness that is appearing as thoughts and feelings and stories and memories and bodies and oceans and parks and fields and lakes and mountains and hillsides and gardens. All of that is the consciousness that's you. That's Christ's vision. Me hears this and goes, oh, I, the me, am consciousness. No, there's no me. There's consciousness appearing as that thought, but there's no me. You are that consciousness. You're not an identity structure. You're not a thinker of thoughts. That's the dream. You are what's appearing as all thoughts, all people, but it's a pure, unbound consciousness. There's nothing in it going, behold, I am the consciousness that is everything. That's a thought. That's a thought. No one is thinking. You're appearing as that thought, but there's no one actually thinking it because there's only consciousness appearing as its dream. That's all that's here. That's why the forms, the broken pieces seem to take mean nothing. Good people and bad people and rich people and poor people and suffering people and sick people and people being born and people dying. The forms, the broken pieces seem to take mean nothing because the one consciousness is experiencing itself as the whole thing. And you're not a me. You are the consciousness that's experiencing itself as everything. You cannot identify with thoughts, or you'll think you're an imaginary separate self thinker of thoughts. And then you'll go, what's in this for the me? There's no me. There's consciousness. There's the dreamer of the dream, which is what everyone is. That's what the miracle establishes. Needless to say, this is a very unwelcome message for the ego. Um, let's continue with some quotes. But vision, we've been talking about Christ's vision and what it shows. Vision sets all things right, bringing them gently within the kindly sway of heaven's laws. What if you recognized this world is an hallucination? What if you really understood you made it up? What if you realized that those who seem to walk about in it, to sin and die, attack and murder and destroy themselves are wholly unreal? Could you have faith in what you see if you accepted this? And would you see it? Now, watch. Watch for the ego's shenanigans. The imaginary identity structure made of thoughts reads this and goes, oh, I, the me, have made everyone up. But no, the me is made up. You see, when it says, what if you realize that those who seem to walk about in it, to sin and die, attack and murder and destroy themselves are wholly unreal? That includes what you think you are. What you think you are is wholly unreal. Because you think that you're one of them, one of these dream figures who seem to walk about in the world to sin and die, attack and murder and destroy themselves, but are wholly unreal. You think you're one of them. You can't keep that misidentification and go, oh, I'm the dreamer of the dream. I'm what's real and no one else is real. No, that's delusion. It's delusion. That's the ego appropriating the course's message to sustain itself. That's what the course talks about when it says, think you that you can bring truth to fantasy and understand truth from illusions? You can't identify as an illusion of yourself, a me, a dream figure. You can't keep that and then go, oh, I, the dream figure, know the truth. No, you don't. Because the truth is, there's no dream figure. That's the truth. That's the truth. The truth is that me doesn't exist. It's a bunch of thoughts. A whole load of memories and thoughts and feelings and stories with a circle around it, and you go, that's me. No, it's not. Your consciousness. Not a person. Your consciousness. You are the consciousness that's appearing as the whole thing. The entire dream. You're what's appearing as the entire dream. The miracle establishes that the one consciousness is the truth of everything and everyone around you. And that's the end of the tiny mad idea. That's the end of the tiny mad idea of separateness. That's the end of the tiny mad idea of self and other. If one consciousness is appearing as all of this, and all of this is just a dream, one consciousness experiencing itself as its own dream, and it never stops being consciousness, this is all one. There's no separation. And the Son of God remembers to laugh. The victimizers and the victims and the living ones and the dead ones, they're all the same. They are all one, innocent, invulnerable, peaceful consciousness. Hearing is things that doesn't matter and never ceasing to be this consciousness. This is the Holy Spirit's vision. This is right-minded consciousness. It's not the ultimate truth because the right mind says there is one identity here. That's what reflects the truth. because it's the perception of oneness in the dream of duality. So that reflects the truth of knowledge. Okay, but the truth of knowledge is there's no identity. Identity requires consciousness. But again, you see, when I say that, you will try to understand what knowledge means with consciousness, and you can't. You're trying to imagine what it would be like with no consciousness, and you're doing that with consciousness, and so it's impossible. So we can't skip steps. That's what the Course calls the last step. And it says it's taken by God ultimately, which is poetic. It's not ultimately true. Um, but what it means is don't you be concerning yourself with the end of consciousness. You want to concern yourself with shared identity because that's what reflects God's reality. If there's one sun here appearing as dream figures that mean nothing, and it's one sun everywhere you look, and it's you, not you, the dream figure, not the me. No, there's no me. There is the self that is everyone. There is no me in you. There is what's appearing as me in you. That's our shared identity. That's consciousness. That's unbound consciousness. Okay, that's shared identity. That's what the miracle is about. Well, you have to choose against the illusion that the thoughts in your mind are you. Okay, so let's go all the way back to chapter 2. This is section 6, paragraph 3. It is pointless to believe that controlling the outcome of misthought can result in healing. When you are fearful, you've chosen wrongly. That is why you feel responsible for it. You must change your mind, not your behavior, and this is a matter of willingness. Now, so I have identified with thoughts in my mind. I now think myself a me, a creature of time, with a past and a future, who is a body, who was born and that will die, that's surrounded by others. So this is wrong-mindedness. This is wrong-minded consciousness. Consciousness unaware of itself because it's identified with thoughts and thinks itself a self that doesn't exist. And the Course is telling us you can't change your behavior. That's useless. See? Because this wrong-minded consciousness, the me, this misidentification, reads the Course and goes, wow, this is amazing. So if I go off and join a commune, that's going to make me holy. I'm going to become something holy. You see? Or it reads the Course and goes, oh, so if I'm kind to people, if the me starts being kind to all those others out there, that's what all this is about. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not about changing behavior. You're keeping the me. You've kept the wrong choice. You've kept wrong minded consciousness, and you're going, if I read the Course enough, this me, will become enlightened. You're saying, if this me, give up meat, that's going to make me holy. I'm going to make progress as a me. The me is trying to save itself by changing its behavior, by pretending it's loving, even though it hates everyone, especially itself. The me is going, oh, I changed my behavior. So the me, all I have to do is forgive people. Then I'm going to awaken. This is fabulous. I'm going to be a holy me. I'm going to be a me that forgives everyone. It's going to be wonderful. I'll be enlightened. Everyone will think I'm great. I'll be special. Ah, everyone will go, oh, you're so special. I go, I know. I'm a very holy me. I changed my behavior. And now I'm a holy me. There's no me. You can't change your mind by changing your behavior. You can't know yourself as the dreamer of the dream by being a dream figure doing different things. That's the trap. That's the trap. And this is where course students go way off track. This is where the unhealed healer comes in. You see? It's I keep the me. And I go, I'm gonna be a miracle worker. The me is gonna be a miracle worker. You see? So everyone's like, no, no. Nobody wants to do forgiveness. No one wants to do shadow work. No one wants to learn that the me doesn't exist. No, no, no. They're like, no, the course is about being a miracle worker. It's not about shadow work. It's not about the outside ring of fear. No, it's about the me being a miracle worker. That's the unhealed healer. The healed healer knows that what he is consciousness, appearing as a body and thoughts and feelings and stories and memories, not denying that, not fighting that. Consciousness is appearing as that. Identity has shifted. The healed healer isn't identifying as the dream figure. He's identifying as unbound consciousness. And he sees that as the truth of absolutely everything and everyone around him. That's what healing is. Doesn't make the error real and then go, I, the holy ego miracle worker, am now going to fix illusions and be holy because I've changed my behavior and I'm now a miracle worker. It's fabulous. That's a dream. That means nothing. That's delusion. This is about awakening. And the me doesn't awaken. You awaken from the me. The me is the dream. When you awaken from the me, you share an identity with everyone. Everywhere you look is the consciousness that's you, experiencing itself as all different people, but it's one consciousness. When you recognize the dreamer of the dream as the truth of all the dream figures, that's what brings healing to you and all the apparent others. That's what brings light into the dream. Shared identity, recognizing the truth of everyone. That's what it's about. But the me doesn't like this. The me is like, no, I'm going to be going into the hospitals. I got to be healing the sick. I got to be raising the dead. And everyone's going to look at me and go, you're such a holy me. And I'll be like, yeah, I am. Fabulous. I did my course. You see? The me will change its behavior and everyone will think it's great and God won't kill me. Because I'm doing holy things. I've changed my behavior. Are you looking, God? You don't need to destroy me for my separateness. See? I'm fabulous. I've changed my behavior. No, this is the delusion. This is very unwelcome. I'm just imagining all the people watching it, the course students watching this on YouTube going, I'm not watching this. I'm going to change my behavior and I'm going to be a holy me. There's no me. Self you made is not the Son of God. You've made it out of thoughts, see? But your consciousness, unbound by thoughts. That's who you are. When you recognize this, the Course calls it the holy place where thoughts can enter not. When you know you are the holy place where thoughts can enter not, you look out on the world and that's what everyone is. Because that's pure, unbound consciousness as the truth of everyone. Now you're a miracle worker because you don't think you're a me. Now you're a miracle worker because you're not attacking yourself to identify as a me. And you're not attacking consciousness out there to see it as dream figures that are in a deplorable condition, but you're the holy one and you're going to fix those conditions. You're going to change things around in the dream, and this is going to be fabulous. This is miracle working. So I get to keep the me. I get to keep myself as an ego, a dream figure, and I'm fabulous. Well, the ego loves that. See, the ego is like, no, don't change your mind, change your behavior. You know, start doing a bit of forgiveness here and there. Don't be looking at the darkness inside of you. Don't do that. No, do now a bit of forgiveness to destroy here and there. It's like, oh, what you did was terrible. But I, being the holy ego, I now forgive you, the dream figure, for what you did to me, the dream figure. I'm going to let you off the hook for that. Well, that's not forgiveness. That's forgiveness to destroy. You've seen the Son of God as a dream figure twice. You've attacked yourself, Son of God, to identify as me, a separate self. And now you've attacked your brother to see him as a dream figure that you're blaming for the unhappiness of you as a dream figure. And then you're going, but I'm holy. Now I've changed my behavior. I'm going to let you off the hook for that, even though, you don't really deserve it. But I'm a holy ego. I've changed my behavior. It's fabulous. You're off the hook. Are you looking, God? Don't kill me. See, you've kept the illusion. You're trying to make the illusion holy. And you're trying to make the illusion into what everyone is. No, you have to let the illusion go. You have to use forgiveness to return to the holy place where thoughts can enter not. Place in your mind, thoughts can't soil, thoughts can't divide. I love that expression in the Course, the holy place. It's from lesson 131. The holy place in your mind where thoughts can enter not. That's who you are. But you got to go through the thoughts. You got to go, that's not me. I'm going to choose against that. I'm going to forgive it because it means nothing. It's a dream. Those thoughts in my mind, this me that's trying to be holy is a dream. I don't want that. I want to go beyond what the Course calls the clouds of thoughts and find the light. Lesson 70. Now we will try again to find the light in you, which is where your salvation is. It's not among the clouds. The thoughts, that's where you've been looking for it. You've been asking your thoughts, what'll I do? And they went, why don't you change your behavior? Why don't you do holy things? See? Of course, is going, no, don't believe those thoughts. That's not you. You're the light outside those clouds. You're not thoughts. Those thoughts have nothing to do with you. You're not thinking them. You're not a dream figure. If you believe thoughts and if you identify with them and go, I'm the one that's thinking these, you think you're a dream figure. The minute you observe the activity of the mind and go, that's what the mind is doing. Well, what does it have to do with me? What does it have to do with the holy place thoughts can't soil? That's what you are. But it's not just what you are, it's what everyone is. Now you've changed your mind. You've let the me go. You're not trying to make a holy me with holier thoughts and doing holy things. No, you've stopped. You've went, there's no me. Me is a bunch of thoughts. But what is the space within which all those thoughts are arising and dissolving. That's what everyone is. And all is well. That consciousness seems to be forming itself into birth and death and suffering and pain and misery and violence and war, and but it's all one consciousness, and all is well. There are no victims and victimizers. There are no good guys and bad guys. One consciousness is the truth of everyone, and it is my capital S self. It's the miracle. Because the miracle, the Course says, the miracle looks on devastation, suffering, illness, bodies, terrible things, atrocities, victims and victimizers, famine, war. The miracle looks on devastation. Of course, it's devastation, but it's a dream. The miracle looks on devastation and it reminds the mind this is all one consciousness. It reminds the mind that what it sees is false. That's what the miracle is. The miracle looks on the devastation of the thoughts in your mind that I'm a me, oh, that I'm terrified of death, oh, that I hate myself so much, and I need to get people to like me so I don't hate myself as much, and I'm just constantly insecure, and I can't sit still for a minute, and oh, I just need to have these, can't sit with myself for a moment, I have to sedate myself with Netflix and alcohol and drugs, and oh, it's awful. And the miracle looks on all of that and says, that's not you. It looks on that devastation of thinking you're a dream figure and says, that's not you. That's the miracle. That's why the Course says atonement can be equated with a total escape from the past and a total lack of interest in the future. Heaven is here. There's nowhere else. Heaven is now. There's no other time. No teaching that does not lead to this is of concern to God's teachers. See, when you think you're a dream figure, you're going, oh, my salvation is when I get rid of these boo boo thoughts, when I get rid of these boo boo emotions. I will be a happier dream figure. Of course, it's going, no, 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 you're deluded. You still think you're me. You see, heaven is now because it's only now, ever. And in the now, you get to look at the one who thinks he's not enough, who needs to become something, who's on a journey. And you go, that's not me. Bunch of thoughts, a self concept, a story about a self that's not the Son of God. That's why heaven is here and now. Not when the dream figure does stuff. Not when the dream figure joins a commune. Not when the dream figure starts going out there and forgiving people and can everyone see how holy I am? No, that's the dream. No, in this moment, you can go, oh, I thought I was that me, but I'm not. I am what's outside of thought. When I look out and this shines as the reality of all my brothers, they're not dream figures. One consciousness is dreaming itself to be all of them. And when I know I am that consciousness, I know that's the truth of everyone I'm looking at. They're not sick. They're not dying. They're not dead. They are this consciousness with me. This is shared identity. This is what forgiveness is. This is what healing is. And this is what it means to be a miracle worker. You do not share anyone's dream that they're a me. And that weakens the dream of me everywhere and awakens shared identity in every mind in the sonship. Consciousness, initially, until consciousness falls away. I am, until even I am falls away. That's what a miracle worker does. But the me keeps hearing this and going, no, I'm going to be out in the world doing holy things, going to be fixing all the dream figures. No, you have to attack them first to see them as broken. So you can be a holy ego that's fixing the broken dream figures. That's an unhealed healer. The healed healer doesn't see anything broken. Healed healer doesn't make the error real and try to be holy by fixing it, by changing his behavior. I'm a miracle worker now. No, that's delusion. Who is the one that's the miracle worker? A bunch of thoughts. There's no one there. This is all consciousness. That's that's the identity you share with everyone. Not your conceptual thought-made identity where you think you're thinking. That's a false identification. That's not you. Moore says all temptation can be seen as the temptation to identify as a self that you're not. So what's the self that you're not? The me, the holy ego, the unhealed healer, the one that thinks it's a dream figure. That's not you. You're the one who witnesses that. The me, even the highest thought of which consciousness is aware, capable, I am, with a period, with a full stop, nothing follows it, I am. Pure beingness. It's the highest thought that consciousness is capable of. Even I am is witnessed. You are that witness. That witness is the Holy Spirit. And that's the link outside of consciousness back to the absolute God. Well, let's not worry about that. Let's worry about the fact that you think you're thinking. Let's worry about the fact that you think those thoughts in your mind are you, and they can tell you what you are and what the world is and what your brothers are. Let's start there, because that's all made up. Christ's vision is that you're not a me, you're consciousness. Appearing as thoughts and feelings and stories and memories in the body and the whole world. We don't deny that. We don't deny that consciousness is appearing as its dream. That's an unworthy form of denial. What we deny is that there's broken pieces, that there's separate selves. There's not. Get rid of the me disillusion, and there's no separate selves. All you recognize is God's one Son, at least the reflection of God's one Son in consciousness. Everything is the same. Everywhere I look is the same capital S self. Now, that's the miracle worker. But the ego is like, that's boring. I don't want that. No, I want to be going out like Jesus in the Bible, the way it's written. I want to be doing what I'm seeing in The Chosen. That's way cooler. I'm going to be a much holier me. No, that's what I want as a me. I'm going to be getting out there. Let me rub this on your eyes. Open your eyes. Oh, your heels. Look. It's all fabulous. That's what the me wants. That's what the dream figure wants. That's what the delusion wants. And all the miracle is saying is, no, no, there's no me. And there's no you. There is what is everyone. Unbound consciousness, pure consciousness, unbound by thought. Thoughts are an appearance in consciousness. Consciousness is not bound by them. Consciousness is the holy place where thoughts can enter not. Hearing is thoughts. and emotions and feelings and stories, but unbound by any of it. The dreamer is literally appearing as his dream and untouched by it. And that's what the miracle worker sees. And that's what the miracle is. So don't fool yourself about miracles unless your miracle is that your brother is the same self you are. And it is unbound by concepts. The Course says salvation can be seen as nothing more than the escape from concepts. Everyone thinks he must find the answer to the riddle of himself. Who am I? Who is the me? Gotta find myself. What am I? Course says this is really simple. It's the escape from concepts. I have a concept here that I'm a holy me or I'm an unholy me, that I'm good in an evil world, that I'm evil in a good world. Of course, is going their concepts, their thoughts. That's nothing to do with you. Their thoughts. Thoughts can't bind you. You're what cannot be bound by a thought that doesn't think. And so is everyone. And it's appearing as a world and thinking and others, and that's fine. We're not going to pretend that's not the appearance, but we're going to see the truth of every single appearance. That's the miracle worker. One self. The same self is the truth of every dream figure I look at. And it is unbound by anything. It is pure freedom. That is the truth of everyone I look at. And when I see them like that, I strengthen that reality for myself. And it shines in everyone else's mind. They get pulled out of concepts. They start feeling themselves as something other than the whole concepts. They feel this freedom in their mind where there's no me. That's the miracle worker. The ego doesn't want to hear this. The ego's like, no, I'm going to be rolling back the rock in front of the tube, surrounded by spectators, sun shining out of every orifice of me, and everyone going, look how holy he is. He's a miracle worker. Look at what the miracle worker is doing. He's fabulous. No, dreams, illusions. Let's take a few more quotes. Let's take this one again. So it's pointless to believe that controlling the outcome of misthought can result in healing. So I go in there and I go, well, there's thoughts here that separateness is real, that I'm a body. I'm an insane voice talking to itself. These thoughts are me. I'm thinking them. They're true. I'm a separate self surrounded by others. And now I'm going to change my behavior. I'm going to change the result of the misthought. The misthought is that I'm a me, a false self that suffers. It's wicked. I have to keep finding other people to blame for how awful it is. But now I think, well, I'm going to keep the me, but I'm going to start changing things for the me. I'm going to do a bit of self-love. Going to take up new hobbies. Going to be a miracle worker. I'm going to look at consciousness everywhere as broken and I'll fix it. It's not broken. You must change your mind, not your behavior. And this is a matter of willingness. You do not need guidance except at the mind level. You don't need guidance about what to do in the world. You need guidance about what you are. That's the guidance you need. Not which job does the me take to be a happy me. You don't need guidance about that. You need guidance that you're not that me. And your happiness doesn't matter which job you do. That's where the correction is needed. What am I? That's the correction. What am I? Not what does the me do in the world to be holy? How does the me look like something out of the special effects of The Chosen? No, no, that's the error. What am I? That's the question you ask. That's what you need guidance on. All behavior comes from what you think you are. You don't change behavior. You don't keep the misidentification and try to make the illusion holy, the abomination holy, the miserable thing that hates itself and everyone else and try and make it holy. In the chorus, the voice says to Helen, the thing you do with the desert is you leave. You don't try and make it more comfortable. Okay? The thing you do with the me disillusion is you leave. You don't try and make it holy. You don't try and turn it into a miracle worker. You leave. It's a desert. There's no such thing as a happy me. It's a dream figure. Only shared identity will make you happy. That's what the miracle is for. Correction belongs only at the level where change is possible. Am I the dream figure or am I the dreamer? If I'm the dreamer, that's the truth of all these dream figures. No one's being born, no one's dying, no one's suffering, no one's miserable. It's the one dreamer. That's shared identity. That reflects the absolute in consciousness. It reflects God's reality in the dream of I am. That's enough. That's the real world. Forget about heaven. That takes care of itself at the very end. Change does not mean anything at the symptom level, where it cannot work. Oh, if the me gives up meat, see, the problem is that the me's eat too much meat. That's interfering with my holiness. Gonna have to give up meat now, and then I'm gonna be a holier me. It doesn't mean anything. Oh, I've been a selfish me, but now I'm gonna be a holy me. Gonna forgive people. Gonna be a miracle worker. Nonsense. Change at the symptom level. Change the behavior of the me. That's nonsense. There's no me. That's the change that matters. The change that matters. Let's have that again. Change does not mean anything at the symptom level where it cannot work. The only problem you have is that you think you're a me. You're different than everyone else. You start changing the symptoms, the behavior of the me. How is that going to work? Your only problem is that you think you're a me. You're keeping the me by trying to fix it, make it holy. That just keeps the only problem you have in place. You haven't changed your mind. Direction of fear is your responsibility. When you ask for release from fear, you are implying that it's not. You should ask instead for help in the conditions that have brought the fear about. These conditions always entail a willingness to be separate. And at that level, you can help it. If you identify with the thoughts in your mind and think you're thinking them, you'll think you're separate. And you will always have fear and self hatred and self loathing. There will always be dissatisfaction because you think you're a dream figure, because you've identified with thoughts. Descartes didn't give voice to a universal truth. He gave voice to the ego's primary error. I think, therefore I am. That's the definition for the existence of an ego that doesn't really exist. You think you're thinking, you think you're separate. And that is the cause of all suffering, according to A Course in Miracles. You think you're a separate self. You think you stand apart from the dream. And that will be experienced as loneliness and isolation and self hatred and inadequacy and lack. And the Course is going, that's not you. Here's the miracle. Here's how you let that go. Here's how you let go of that separate identity, the me, and be the consciousness, the unbound consciousness, which is the truth of everyone. And that's you, the miracle worker. You don't believe any of the dreams of me. Me, the sick person. Me that's going to die. You look and you go, I know what you are because it's what I am. You don't say that. That's what you know. And that's the miracle. You've chosen the miracle. You've looked on devastation and went, not on my watch. You've looked on devastation and been reminded that what you see is false. And if you're in pain or suffering of any kind, you think you're thinking, you think you're a separate self. And what does the miracle do for you? Helps you look at all of that and go, that devastation is false. It's not you. And once you go, okay, that's not me, I'll let that go by forgiving it, by looking on it with no judgment and then going, what's looking? Pure awareness, unbound, unlimited. That's what's looking. And that's what everyone is. Now you're a miracle worker. Everything that comes from here at the level of the dream will now be helpful and loving and guided because you don't believe any of it. Because you refuse to believe the dream. You see the truth of all your brothers, even when they can't see it for themselves. Now you're a miracle worker, not an unhealed healer going, behold my holiness, I'm going to fix you. The unhealed healer goes, there's a problem. And I, the Holy One, I, the one who's changed my behavior, changed my self-concept to a Holy One, I'll fix it. And the Holy Spirit goes, there's no problem. Look, all one consciousness, appearing as everything. Where's the problem? One dreamer unaffected by his dream. And you're not separate from it. And this reflects heaven. This is the real world. Well, there you go. This is your holy instant. You stepped outside the dream of me. That's what the holy instant is. You step outside time, which is thought. You step outside identifying as me, which just means identifying with the thoughts in your mind and thinking they're you. They're not. You've stepped outside the dream. This is the holy instant. And you look out and you see the truth of everyone. This unbound consciousness that nothing can be said about because that would limit it. The escape from concepts. Now you're a miracle worker. Me doesn't like this. That's not what the me wants to hear. P's like, that's not why I got into A Course in Miracles. You identify with thoughts, you'll think you're separate. That's the reason for your fear. So the answer isn't what do I do as a me to be less fearful? It's let the me go. How do you do that? Surrender. Everything in the world is exactly the way it should be. Anything else is ego. So now if there's all these thoughts in my mind shouting and roaring about this is not all things working together for good, that's ego. So that's not me. So what sees this? sees this as the consciousness within which all of this is arising, by which it's known, out of which it's made, and into which it'll dissolve. You don't have to do anything with your ego. You can't do anything with your ego. You cannot do anything with your me misidentification. The Course says there's the other way. You become quiet in the midst of the turmoil the me is making. And what's quiet if the me is what's shouting and roaring and suffering? Shared identity, consciousness, right-minded consciousness, dreamer of the dream. That's your miracle. You should instead ask for help with the conditions that have brought the fear about. These conditions always entail a willingness to be a separate, to be a me, instead of to be what everyone is. And share that with them and see it as the truth of them, no matter how deluded they are and how much pain they're in because of their misidentification. Miracle worker, healed healer. At that level, you can help it. You are much too tolerant of mind wandering and are passively condoning your mind's miscreations. The particular result does not matter, but the fundamental error does. The correction is always the same. Let the me go. It's not you. It's a bunch of thoughts that you are mixing yourself up with. And all you have to do is look at them and go, but they're just thoughts. They can be here if they want. You've got nothing to do with me. Lesson 4, these thoughts don't mean anything. Lesson 52, I have no private thoughts, but it's only private thoughts of which I am aware. What can they mean? They don't exist and they mean nothing. How could the consciousness that is appearing as everything have like private thoughts? Private from whom? One mind is everything and everyone. What has private thoughts? An imaginary self, a me, a suffering, lacking, needing, hating creature of time with a guilty past, victimized past. An unhappy me has private thoughts. And the miracle establishes that devastation isn't you. You share your identity with your brother. That's the holy instant. You've let the nightmare go. The nightmare of the me that's clawing and hating and wanting and seeking and butting and bullying and going through the whole life and nothing is working. And it's I'll never get this Course in Miracles, and other people get it. I'm never going to get it. And the miracle says, see that? That's not you. It's the holy instant. It's not you. Here you are, freedom itself. Identifying with thoughts and going, oh, I'll never get this. I am a self that will never get this. And the Course is going, well, the good news is the self that won't get it doesn't exist. You already are as God created you. But your mind wandering, you think thoughts are true. You read lesson 4. These thoughts don't mean anything. And you went, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to think about that. Lesson 4 continues. The good ones, thoughts, are but shadows of what lie beyond, outside of thoughts. And shadows make sight difficult. And the bad ones are blocks to sight and make seeing impossible. You don't want either. You don't want thoughts. You want what witnesses thoughts. You want unbound consciousness, pure freedom itself, which is you, and you want to shine that into the minds of all your brothers. But you read that and went, I don't want to hear that. You read lesson 52. I have no private thoughts. You went, I don't want to hear that. You asked your thoughts what it meant. Thoughts are nothing. The only problem you have is that you think you're thinking. You think those thoughts are real. Therefore, you think the one who's thinking them is real, but that's another thought. There's no one thinking them. You already are freedom. You're saved. The atonement's over. There's no such thing as separation. You're already saved. You're at home in God, dreaming you're a me, but you're not. You're heaven. Heaven's appearing as earth or hell, and it's still heaven. And you are that. Except there's no me to say I am that. It's a thought. So the course returns to this important point in chapter 4, section 4, paragraph 2. I have said that you cannot change your mind by changing your behavior. You can't know yourself as unbound freedom and share that with all your brothers and refuse to share their nightmare of me, of mortality. You can't do that by changing your behavior of the me. I've said that you cannot change your mind by changing your behavior, but I've also said, and many times you can change your mind. You can let the me go. This is nothing but a bunch of thoughts. The Lord says I can be hurt by nothing but my thoughts. You literally make up a suffering, needy, wanting, hating, vicious self for yourself out of thoughts and pretend it's you. That's why your thoughts hurt you. Not even thoughts, your identification with them. You should be spending your day going, oh, these are just thoughts. Lesson 4 tells me these don't mean anything. What's outside them? That's what we all are. Salvation can be seen as nothing more than the escape from concepts. Okay, chapter 5, section 2, paragraph 7. The voice of the Holy Spirit does not command because it's incapable of arrogance. It does not demand because it does not seek control, does not overcome because it doesn't attack. It merely reminds. It's compelling only because of what it reminds you of. It brings to your mind the other way, remaining quiet even in the midst of the turmoil you may make. Voice for God is always quiet because it speaks of peace. Peace is stronger than war because it heals. When you misidentify as the me, you'd be like, oh, Holy Spirit, take it off me, take it off me, take it off me, right? Okay, you want the Holy Spirit to attack your suffering. You want your Holy Spirit to go in there and order it away. See? Holy Spirit doesn't do that. Holy Spirit reminds you of the other way. Look at the me. Look at its misery. Look at its suffering. Look how it hates itself and it hates everyone else. Look at it constantly defending itself. Holy Spirit goes, you can remember what you are if you become still and quiet in the midst of the me. And all you have to do is witness the activity of the mind that pretends to be you and don't label it. You don't judge it. You stop opposing it. You stop pushing and pulling and trying to fix the me. You forgive the me. That's the thing that hurts you, the me. Your misidentification. You, the light of the world, thinking you're a dream figure. That's what's hurting you. And in that pain, you go out looking for other dream figures to blame for how awful it is to be a dream figure instead of remembering you're not a dream figure. It's the me that causes all your pain. Of course, there's one problem, one solution to all the problems you think you have because they're all the same. The self that needs protection is not real. The me isn't real. The one that can be slighted, the one that can be crucified, But one your brother can hurt. It's not real. It's made up. It's a bunch of thoughts. It's got nothing to do with you. That's what the miracle establishes. And now you're a miracle worker because you show your brother nothing he does can take away your peace because you know what you are. And nothing he does thinking he's a dream figure causes any break in your acceptance and love of him exactly as he is because you don't believe he's a dream figure. Now you're a miracle worker. Now you're a healed healer. Not the holy ego, not the unhealed healer, not the holy me. That's what it's talking about. The Holy Spirit reminds us of the other way, remaining quiet in the midst of the turmoil you may make. The turmoil of the me, the false self, shouting and roaring and hating itself and hating everyone else and it's suffering and everything. And the miracle, you look on all that devastation and the miracle reminds you that's false. It's not you. Miracle establishes you dream a dream of me and that its content is not true. You can't fix the me. You let it go. That's what the miracle is. You let go of the me to be what everyone is, to share an identity with your brother. Pure, unlimited freedom, unbound consciousness, outside of thoughts, outside of concepts. Okay, let's bring it home with this beautiful passage from A Course in Miracles. When you meet anyone, remember it is a holy encounter. As you see him, you will see yourself. As you treat him, you will treat yourself. As you think of him, you will think of yourself. Why? There's only one consciousness appearing as everything and everyone. There's only one dreamer appearing as his dream. Everything you perceive is what you are. You see your brother as a dream figure, you'll have to consider yourself one. You see past the dream figure to the freedom that your brother is, the changelessness, the unbound consciousness that your brother is, and you will learn it of yourself and you will strengthen it until you awaken completely from the dream of death. And you'll bring your brothers with you because you refuse to share their dreams, their nightmares, that they're a body, that the body is sick, so they're sick. That's a nightmare. You refuse to share that. Not openly, that's not kind. In your mind, you know the truth of everyone you're looking at. How could the Son of God be sick? He's not a body. How could the Son of God have mental problems or senility? He's not a mind. That body mind, that's not what the Son of God is. The Son of God is the consciousness, for now, this is how we'll think of it. The Son of God is the consciousness within which that body mind arises, into which it'll dissolve. And so what? What's hurt? What's born and dies? Nothing. Force says, what dies is but illusion in my mind and mocks the truth of myself. Me, the me mocks the truth of me. The self that needs protection mocks the truth of me. And the selves I see my brothers as that need protection, that can die, mocks the truth of them, which is my truth. One self everywhere. Only thoughts say otherwise. The Son of God cannot be bound by the ego's thoughts. Salvation's already here unless you're believing thoughts. It's escape from concepts. You have to let it go. The miracle is how you let go of the me and how you exit time, because the whole thing's made out of thoughts. You go there, thoughts. What does that have to do with me? You look at your brother and you go, oh, look at the state of him. He has long left. He must be suffering terribly. Okay? That's a dream. That's not what your brother is. And you recognize your error and you go, oh, these are just thoughts. That's nothing to do with my brother. My brother is the Son of God. He's not a body. He's not a body mind. He's what's appearing as a body mind. He's the consciousness within which that body mind has arisen and into which it will dissolve, and it has had no effect on the truth of who he is. And I am that with him. Now you're a miracle worker. Whenever two sons of God meet, they are given another chance at salvation. Will the dreamer of the dream be recognized or a dream figure? Will salvation be taken or rejected? Will I see my brother as a dream figure, as a body with a story and a past and a future? Or will I see him as the consciousness within which all that is happening and into which it'll all dissolve and all is well? And I am that with him. Will I share an identity with my brother or will I self? Will I be a me and turn him into a guilty you? Will I be a healthy me and turn him into a sick you? Will I be a sick me and turn him into a healthy you? Pick your delusion. Will I do that? Will I self? Will I go with what the ego tells me the Son of God is? Will I do that? Or will I listen to what the Holy Spirit told me? The Holy Spirit says, see all that going on in your mind? See that devastation there? Devastation about what you are, devastation about what your brother is. See all that? It's not true. It's not true. It's false. The truth of what you and all your brothers is one consciousness, and it's appearing as a dream of death, but it's never ceasing to be one consciousness. I am is dreaming itself to be I am this and I am that. I am born and I am dying. I am healthy and I am sick. And I am has never been affected by any of those dreams made out of thoughts. The period at the end of I am has never been violated. I am never became body. I am never became an insane voice talking to itself. I am never became sick. I am never died. Nothing ever violated the period, the full stop at the end of I am. Nothing. The dreamer never became his dreams. That's your holy instant. That's your miracle worker. It doesn't make the error real and start trying to fix it. He looks on devastation and rejects it as true. And now loving, guided, helpful, effective action just flows from the truth of what we are together, which is already perfect, and not from the lie that there's a me and you. One of us is sick and one of us is healthy, that one of us is holy and one of us is unholy, that one of us is right and one of us is wrong. There's no me and you. There's what's appearing as both of us. It's the holy instant. It's outside thoughts. Mind is like, what the hell? No, no, the mind can't get it. Don't ask thoughts for the answer. Don't ask the one thing in all the universe that doesn't know. Let them go. Stop identifying with them. You are the holy place where thoughts can enter not. You're already that. You just think you're thinking, but you're not. Lesson 8. You think you're thinking, your mind is actually blank because you're not really thinking. You must learn to recognize nothingness when you think you see it. That's the voice in your head that pretends to be you, telling you how unworthy you are and how unworthy all your brothers are. That's nothingness. That's not nothing to do with you. It's nothing to do with the truth. It's an appearance. Do not leave anyone without giving salvation to him and receiving it yourself. One consciousness is experiencing itself as a whole load of me's. That's the dream. And every me is in terrible pain. Every me is in terrible pain. Every me is fighting a tough fight. Every me is haunted by its inadequacy and mediocrity. Every me is terrified, terrified of sickness, terrified of death, terrified of humiliation, terrified of being unloved. Loads of me's in the dream commit suicide because the pain is so bad. You want to be a miracle worker. You go out there and see the truth of all those me's. You share an identity with them. That's a miracle worker. It's a miracle worker. No matter how evil that me looks, or evil that me thinks itself to be, or sick that me thinks itself to be, or holy that me thinks itself to be, or unholy that me thinks itself to be, you don't buy the me for a second. You give salvation to your brother. You're not a dream figure. You're the light of the world. You're all of this and none of it. That's your freedom. And you can think about yourself as a suffering, lacking, needing, wanting, holy or unholy me. But I'm going to hold the truth of what you are for you until you know it yourself. Because that's the only way I can teach myself. Now you're a miracle worker. Now you're undoing the dream. Now you're making a real difference. Do not leave anyone without giving salvation to him and receiving it yourself. That means share an identity, which is free, untouchable, invulnerable, outside time, which just means outside thoughts. They're all just concepts, lies about the Holy Son of God. Continue. The goal of the curriculum, regardless of the teacher you choose, is know thyself. Know thyself. You spent your whole life listening to thoughts telling you what you are and what your brothers are, which kept you from knowing yourself. The Course says all along salvation was nothing more than the escape from concepts. Stop believing thoughts. Stop thinking you're thinking them. Stop identifying as a thinker of thoughts. Your truth is outside them completely. Goal of the curriculum, regardless of the teacher you choose, that means whether it's the ego or the Holy Spirit, is know thyself. So the ego thought system says you're a me, surrounded by yous. So the ego thought system wants to teach you what you are. It says you're a me, you're a separate self, lacking and needing and wanting and clawing and hating yourself and everyone else. The ego asks you, know thyself. Here's what you are. You're a me. And it sucks, but you can blame everyone else for how much it sucks instead of your own decision to be a me. It's the ego thought system. Or you can choose the Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit says, look at that devastation of what you've thought you were all along. Look at the misery of it, the self-loathing, the unhappiness, the inadequacy. Look at all that in your mind. Look at it. That's not you. It's not you. Look at the devastation in your mind that you've identified with. That's not you. And look at the devastation in your mind about your brothers. That's not your brothers. Salvation's here. It was nothing but the escape from concept. There's nothing else to seek except knowing what you are. Everyone is looking for himself and for the power and glory he thinks he has lost. The me, trying to become something, trying to be a miracle worker, trying to be holy. Whenever you are with anyone, you have another opportunity to find them, the real power and glory, which is shared identity. Your power and glory are in him, in your brother, because they're yours. Because only shared identity is real. Only the mind that's in everyone is real. Everything else is a bunch of thoughts. It's the devastation that you call me that's different than everyone else, that's in competition with everyone else, that hates everyone else, that blames everyone else. See, that's not in everyone. That's just this particular me delusion. You can't share that. This is the beauty of what A Course in Miracles is teaching you. The only thing that's true about you is what's also true about your brother. All of them. The only self that's real is the one that's appearing as all the imaginary selves without ever ceasing to be itself, the capital S self, pure unbound consciousness, outside of thoughts. You share an identity. But the me doesn't share anything. The me is let go of. It's a bunch of thoughts. You look at the devastation of the me. The holy instinct goes, that's not you. Have a look at it. Look at all those thoughts and feelings and stories there that you're identified with. That's not you. It's the me. That's the devastation. That's the nightmare. That's the dream figure identity. You have to look at the error to realize you're what's looking. That's the miracle. Looking at the ego without judgment, without justifying it, without judging it, without opposing it. You go, bunch of thoughts here. I'm going to totally forgive the fact that they're here, but what do they have to do with me? And what's here is unbound consciousness. There's no me in it. There is what everyone is. God's one holy, innocent Son. That's shared identity. Pure consciousness, pure awareness. That's what you are. If you don't know you're that, you'll suffer as a me and blame all your brothers that you're seeing as yous. And the miracle says, see that devastation of the victimized you and the victimized me and the victimizing you? The miracle says, see that devastation? That's false. It's a bunch of thoughts. It's concepts. You're the same. You share your being. That's forgiveness. That's healing. That's the holy instant. That's a miracle. Not a me in sight. The miracle is automatic when the me is let go of. That's why the Course says the miracle comes quietly into the mind that stops an instant and is still. What happens when the mind stops? There's no me. It's made out of thoughts. All the devastation is made out of thoughts. The miracle comes quietly into the mind that stops an instant and is still. What's established? This stillness is what you and your brother both are. What all your brothers are. God's one holy Son everywhere, and everywhere as God's one holy Son. The holy place where thoughts can enter, not everywhere. That's the miracle. Ego tries to find them, power and glory, in yourself alone, because it does not know where to look. The ego is going, I'm a course student. That's where the power and glory is. I'm going to be a miracle worker. I'm going to show my brother that I'm a miracle worker. The Course is going, that's a dream. It's delusion. You're an unhealed healer. You kept the me. You thought you were something different than your brother and you could be holier than him. You're deluded. You kept the me. You didn't change your mind. You changed your behavior. You're not a miracle worker. You're an unhealed healer. You want to be special. You want to be different. The ego looks for the power and glory in itself alone. I'm the holy one. I'm the miracle worker. I'm the healthy me that's going to fix the unhealthy you. And be holy. So be holy then. Everyone is looking for himself and for the power and glory he thinks he has lost. You haven't lost it. You just think you're a me. Whenever you're with anyone, you have another opportunity to find them. The power and glory of what you really are. Your power and glory are in him, your brother, because they are yours. The ego tries to find them in yourself alone. I'm a course student, so I'm a miracle worker. It's fabulous. Nonsense. Unhealed healer. Because it does not know where to look. You have to find the self you are in everyone. The Holy Spirit teaches you that if you look only in yourself, you cannot find yourself because that is not what you are. You're not a me. You look in yourself alone, you'll think, well, I'm a me. Now, what do I do with me to make it holy? You can't look anywhere in here for the truth. You have to find it everywhere. The only thing that's true about you is what's true about everyone. All the rest is made up. It's a bunch of thoughts. It's concepts. It's delusions, the matrix. It's a private world of self and other that was never real. It doesn't exist. Whenever you are with a brother, you are learning what you are because you are teaching what you are. He will respond with pain or joy depending on what teacher you are following. He will be imprisoned or released according to your decision, and so will you. Is he a dream figure or the dreamer? Is he a me, or is he the one self that's true of everyone, totally unbound by concepts? As you see him, you'll see yourself. Never forget your responsibility to him, because it is your responsibility to yourself. Give him his place in the kingdom and you will have yours. So I repeat, one consciousness is dreaming itself to be a whole pile of me's, and the suffering is immeasurable. It's not true, but that doesn't mean there's not an experience of suffering. All the me's are in terrible pain. They believe in death. They believe in separateness. They believe in separation. They believe in lack. They believe in inadequacy. It's a dream. It's not true, but it's a painful dream. You should know. There are no me's. There's God's one holy Son everywhere, and it's not body minds. It is that within which the body minds are appearing, by which they're known, out of which they're made, into which they'll dissolve as the illusions that they are. That's what you are. That's what your brothers are. That's what the miracle worker knows. That's the understanding miracles come from. That's what healing is. That's what forgiveness is. The letting go of the me, the devastation of the me, to share an identity with your brothers. That's what the miracle is for. That's what will awaken you from the dream of death. The dream of death is that you're me, but there's no me. That's the end of the dream. You share an identity with everyone, or you're dreaming the dream of death unnecessarily. Because the Holy Spirit is the call to awaken. Right. We've had some hands up for a while. So, Vincent, my lovely assistant Eli is going to send you an invite to unmute yourself.
Okay.
Go for it.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I don't want to sidetrack much here, Keith. And I know based on this great discourse you gave, that concepts are really meaningless. That's not
Yeah.
what it's about.
Yeah.
But I have believed in reincarnation for many years. Okay, I just have just one question about it because the Course in Miracle doesn't really address it as either being true or false. But when a baby is born, who's the dreamer of that new body?
There's only one dreamer. You. See, when you say, who is the dreamer of that new body? You're asking which of the dream figures is dreaming the dream.
Right. Which are the dream figures?
Dream figures don't dream the dream. They are the dream. See, you're asking me, is Vincent the dreamer of that body? I'm going, no. Vincent is just as much a dream as the baby is. Which doesn't mean you don't exist. It means you're not Vincent. You're what's dreaming Vincent and the baby. Pure freedom, pure unbound consciousness, not identified as a me, not identified with thoughts. See? So can you see when you ask the question, you're really saying, is Vincent the dreamer of the baby? You see, because you, the dreamer of the dream, have identified as a dream figure, and you're going, do I, the dream figure, am I dreaming that? And the answer is no, dream figures don't dream anything. That's the dream.
But
Does that
even
make
if I
sense?
stop misidentifying with my own dream figure, that person, when they grow up, are going to might identify with that dream figure, right? Even if I stop identifying with my dream figure. No?
When you stop identifying with thoughts, because that's all there is to a dream figure, is the delusion that someone's thinking these ego thoughts. But that's a thought. There's no one doing it. You see, you're not a dream figure that suddenly transforms into a dreamer. What happens is you look and go, there was never a dream figure. So you're going, what happens when Vincent sees the light? And then the other pair said they haven't seen the light. But you see, there is no Vincent to see the light. The light is that there's no Vincent. And now you look out and you only see the light as the truth of everyone. You see, there really isn't anyone to be saved. That's why the Course says that the sole responsibility of the miracle worker is to accept the atonement for himself. The minute you realize there's no Vincent, you realize there's no one else. There's just God's one Son appearing as dreams that mean nothing. And it's already whole, it's unconditional love. See? Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's a little hard to wrap my head around because
No,
of
no. You
the,
see, now it's very hard for the me to wrap its head around because it says there's
yeah.
no me.
Okay.
See, because the me wants to be the Holy One. The me wants to awaken. The me wants to see the light and become the light. But you already are the light. You just think you're me. And all that means is that you're identified with thoughts. You haven't had the escape from concepts. You still think
So when I look at
concepts.
a little baby, I'm looking really at my dream figure too at the same time.
When you look at a little baby, you are seeing heaven looking like that and still heaven. Course in Miracle says, you are the kingdom of heaven. There's no one in the kingdom of heaven. No one left it. No one returns to it. You still are the kingdom of heaven. Behold, this is the kingdom of heaven, looking like babies and old people dying. But it's still heaven. That's what the miracle establishes.
Right. Right.
Forms the broken pieces seem to take me nothing for the whole. One heaven is in each one. And every aspect of God's one Son is just the same as every other part.
Yeah.
These are just images.
Right.
See? So when you disidentify as an image, the image of a body and the image of thoughts, when you disidentify from idols, from appearances, from images, and know the truth, the holy place where thoughts can enter not, you look out and that's what everyone is already. There's no everyone. God is one Son. And you're not separate from it. But that's not the me. God is only one Son when you realize there's no me. There's only what everything is. And that's nothing but the escape from concepts. That's nothing. With all my private clients, I'm blue in the face going, you have to be ruthless about thoughts. Everyone wants to be an apologist for thoughts. Even course teachers, when I say this, it's like lesson 4 goes, listen, those thoughts don't mean anything. You don't want the good ones or the bad ones. You've no private thoughts. Okay. What can they mean? They don't exist. They don't mean anything. See, we read this and everyone wants to be an apologist for it because the ego thought system in your mind is a fully coherent and logical thought system and completely insane. But it's coherent and it's logical and it's fully capable of totally defending itself. and it will. See, the Course in Miracles says it, and I say it. Those thoughts in your mind are not you. You're not thinking them. There's no thinker. None of that has anything to do with you. That's the only problem you have, is that you're identifying with that mind that's not you. See, I'll say that, but the thought system in your mind, the thoughts that mean nothing and that are not yours and you're not thinking them, they'll go, that's a step too far. He's teaching from too high a rung of the ladder. No, we can't be having that. No, but there's right-minded thoughts. And, no, that's too much. No. No, that's the ego thought system defending itself. And it's totally logical and insane. You are much too tolerant of mind wandering. They're just thoughts. You don't have to fight them. You don't have to get rid of them. You don't have to stop them. You have to look at them and go, what does that devastation have to do with the Son of God? That's the holy place. Thoughts can enter not. And that, and until you know that's what you are, you're not a miracle worker. You're an unhealed healer. You're making the error real and setting out to fix it so you can be holy and special and more special than anyone else. It's like I'm way more special than the Buddhists. They don't get to be miracle workers. I'm a course student. We're miracle workers. See, I'm special. Course is special. I'm special. I'm the miracle working me. It's all fabulous. See, delusion. It's a dream. Just look at all of that in your mind. That's all nonsense. And you're saved.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks, Vincent.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Hurry, your time has come. Have we traumatized you? My lovely assistant will give you an invite to unmute yourself now. Thanks, Eli.
Hi there.
Hi, Kari. You shell shocked?
No, not yet.
Good.
I just have a quick question. Last week you referenced something that I cannot find anywhere in the text. This double shield of oblivion.
Yeah. You'd like a reference in the text where it appears?
Yeah, and what is it and how does it play out? What does it look like?
Your pure consciousness. Light and joy and peace abide in you because God put them there. Your pure, unbound freedom. That's what you already are, right? But when we chose separate identity, we says there's a me and there's a God. See? So the me was born, the I am. You see? And when we chose that and we went, this is true, this is real, we made up suffering. We made up sin, guilt, and fear and suffering to prove that the me that suffers is real. It's not. So we made up suffering and went, there is a self here who is guilty of destroying God's non-duality, who is guilty as hell, and who is terrified of God coming back from the grave to restore his non-duality and destroy all the me's. So we made up a story that there is sin, guilt, and fear to prove there was a self here, a me, that could be sinful, guilty, and fearful. That is the first shield of oblivion, because you are what God is. You're the absolute. That's the truth. You are heaven. That's the only truth that's true right now. Nothing else is true. That's the truth. There's a whole lot of images here, but heaven is just appearing as images without ever ceasing to be heaven. And you're that. But you see, but once we made up the first shield, we went, no, heaven is no more. There's a self that destroyed heaven to exist, who is guilty as hell, and God's going to murder. That's the first shield of oblivion against the fact that no such self exists, and you are what God is. So suffering is the first shield of oblivion. You made up suffering. When I say you, I mean the one consciousness. Okay. You made up suffering to prove that consciousness really had separated from God. That's the first shield of oblivion. So God is shielded now because the sin, guilt, and fear implies there is a self here who is sinful, guilty, and fearful.
Okay.
First shield. But that was awful. We needed suffering to prove God was murdered. Non-duality is no more, separateness is real. We needed to make that up, to make it believable. But now we're left with the devastation of that. That suffering is real. Now that's devastation. That's the first shield of oblivion, but it's devastating. So we needed a second shield. And the second shield is, okay, why don't I make up a world, a hallucination, with those that seem to walk about in it and sin and murder and be born and die? Why don't I, consciousness, make that up? And then I can pretend to be all the figures in the dream, all the body minds. And as soon as I do that, I, consciousness, will forget I'm consciousness. And I will see the guilt and the sin in everyone else instead of myself. So consciousness keeps the belief that separateness is real. There's no God. There's separateness. There's individuality. There's me. Consciousness keeps that by maintaining that sin, guilt, and fear is real. God was murdered. First shield of oblivion. But now, because I've made up a world and one consciousness is pretending to be all the characters, dreaming itself to be all the dream figures, now the sin, guilt, and fear is kept. Suffering is kept. Because without suffering, there's no separateness. There's only God. But suffering is kept, but the guilt is in everyone else apart from me. But there's no others. The same consciousness is appearing as everything. You see, you are that consciousness. You are not a dream figure. So that's the two shields of oblivion. The first one is that suffering is a thing, and there's a self here that can suffer, that is sinful, guilty, and fearful. That's the first shield of oblivion against what God is, which is what you are. And the second shield is,
There's a world.
but the guilt isn't in me, it's out there. It's in the criminals, in the murderers, it's in the others. But there's no others. There's no me's. There's just one consciousness. There's only one self as the truth of everything. Does that make sense, Corey?
It does. Thank you.
My pleasure. Jackie, have we traumatized you?
No, I'm not traumatized. I have been listening to you for a few weeks and I have just been, oh, delighted. I mean,
Nice.
I have. And what I have, my question is early on, you said something, we're not the dreamer. Okay. You said something about not being, we're not the dreamer. I heard
Well,
that.
no,
Did I hear
let me
that?
stop you there.
Because
The
that
me,
is,
no.
oh,
Just because this is where we all trip ourselves up and just and I want to keep it nice and
yes.
together so nobody else goes off in tangents going what. Okay, the me
Yes.
isn't the dreamer, the
Okay.
me is the dream.
Okay.
Now
I
you see
get
the
that.
trap. Yeah, the trap you're falling into is that you're going, oh, the me isn't real, so I'm not real. Okay, you are real, but the me isn't.
Okay, I do get that. So this leads to this question. I have this practice that I've been doing since I've been listening to you, and I've been watching my mind. I've been watching my thoughts,
That's it.
and I will, sometimes I'll use my hand and say, those aren't real, but
Yep.
I'll speak to them and I'll say, that isn't me. That has nothing to do with
Yeah.
me. I
Good.
found a lot of peace. So who is talking?
Yeah.
I
Now,
guess I thought it was the dreamer. I was stepping back and the dreamer was telling the ego that those aren't real. So help. I know this is not about doing, it's about
no.
knowing, but I do want to know this.
Yes.
Who's speaking?
right-minded consciousness.
Okay. Yep.
Now, so what you need to understand is that not all thoughts are problematic. Problems are the I and the me thoughts. They're the self-reflective thoughts.
Right. I
My
get that.
suffering, my guilty past, my victimized past, my innocent victimhood. Okay, that's the problematic thought. The one that manufacture a self-concept, who is the innocent victim, good in an evil world, the me.
I can get that.
Now you see, so when you have so you see, you have thoughts going, my body, my past, my suffering, my innocent victimhood. They're the problematic thoughts. But now you see, you introduce right-minded thoughts, which are the correction for the
Okay.
wrong-minded thoughts. You see, so you go into the thought world. You see, with right-minded thoughts that unstick you from the thought world, because you have a thought that says those thoughts don't make a me. Those thoughts don't say what I am. This is corrective.
Those are correct. Okay.
This is unsticking you from thoughts. This is facilitating the escape from concepts. So these are right-minded consciousness that are unsticking you from all concepts.
Okay. That's what I thought. I just got
Yeah,
confused. I thought,
it's
oh,
easy to do. It's easy to do. We've all been
yeah,
there.
thank you.
Does
Thank
that
you.
does that make total sense now?
Yes. And now I know I'm on the right track.
Good. All thoughts, all concepts ultimately are a thorn because we want the escape from concepts.
Hmm.
You see, ultimately we want what it says in chapter. Is it chapter one, chapter two? Ultimately, we want to have no interpretation.
Yes.
But until then, we need right-minded interpretation. See, so right-minded interpretation is, oh, look at those interpretations in my mind. That devastation isn't true. That's a right-minded interpretation. That's a correction for the belief that the thoughts in my mind are true. Now I'm going, but I don't have any private thoughts. What did then thought mean? They don't exist and they mean nothing. That's a right-minded thought. That doesn't tie me into thought identity. That
Right.
doesn't lock me into concepts that bind me and make me feel limited and lacking and needing and wanting and different to what everyone else is. No. Lesson 52. I have no private thoughts, and it's only private thoughts I'm aware of. What do they mean? They don't exist and they mean nothing. Right-minded thought. Corrective thought that frees me from thought identification.
Great.
Does
Thank
that
you.
make sense? Perfect. Good stuff.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right. We have reached the end, I think. We have shell shocked and satisfied. Guys, thank you very much for your attention today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. We will catch up in the Facebook group and we shall do it all again next week. Cheers. Bye bye.